If you were to name the best songwriters of all time, who would you say they were? Maybe Paul McCartney? Others might say John Lennon. Well, how about Max Martin?
Working with Max Martin is awesome because he is such a huge fan of music. He has really infectious energy.
He has a childlike quality to his melody sensibilities.
I can't describe the impact Max has made on the music scene over the years.
Max, you are a master. Take us to the promised land.
By the way, this is the ranking for artists with the most #1 hits on the Billboard Top 100 ever.
Oh God, this guy has written the soundtrack of my life, basically.
We want to learn about writing songs. This guy probably has a few insights. The first big thing people always assume is that the industry has some kind of formula to create hit songs out of thin air. This is not true.
You can't ever have a song that you like by just really wanting a song. A song rewards truth and true need for expression, not the need for another song.
I was in the studio with a friend of mine named Jake Owen, and I played an old tune of mine, don't even remember which one, and he said, "What inspired that song?" I said, "It's about a girl I had a thing with in New York City, and I mixed her story up with a separate girl from my past, and some of it I just made up." And he looked at me and he said, "Why don't you just tell the truth?" After leaving that studio, I boarded an airplane, and on the airplane, I wrote,
"I took a pill in Ibiza to show Avicii I was cool."
And quite specifically,
most of these theories, I mean, I've read things about myself actually. Oh, it's all, math and it's a formula and all that stuff. And that's not really true. It's not like you sit down and like, okay, let's use 3B from, some thing. That's not what it is at all. I believe it has to come from some kind of just inspiration. Your inspiration in the beginning.
Here, he tells us how he came up with one of his best known melodies.
Back then I kept like a dictaphone, with a cassette tape.
I've just got lots of tape.
I was lying there trying to motivate myself to get out of bed and record this thing because I had a feeling it was good. I was like, this is pretty good. And then I was like, you know what? I'll get out of bed. And I grabbed the thing and I recorded it. And then I went back to bed and then I came up with like a different variation and I had to get up again and recorded it. But I remember listening back to it. You can hear on the last one, the last sort of take, you can hear, that's when I sort of go, because I'm tired, and then I say like, hit me baby one more time. And I was like, and then I hear myself say, yeah, it's pretty good.
Now, that sounded simple enough, right? Okay, well, but if inspiration is all we need, once we've written our hit song, our, or maybe our,
hit me baby one more time,
will we know? Do they know?
I mean, the last thing I thought was this song would be popular. It's called I Took a Pill in Ibiza. I never thought they'd play it on the radio. You're talking about taking ecstasy in the first line.
And here is Post Malone on the subject.
The songs that are more popular on that album, were they the songs you expected to be popular, or was it always just kind of like you don't know until the public sort of reviews the album?
You never really find out until later. Like kind of like even Congratulations took a little while to bubble up and pop up. You never really know. You'll find out like within the first week what people are like initially like, struck them. I never really planned for anything to be like the biggest song, it just kind of happens that way.
Well, these are just writing themselves, aren't they?
I wonder if you, in the moment of creation, if you will, know if something's, when you're writing Free Fallin', do you know in your bones, you kind of go, man, this is a big song?
Well, I didn't know exactly. There's been very few times where I set out to write a single. I knew that I really liked those songs, like Free Fallin'. I knew that was a good one because I played it all night when I went home. Man, this is good, but I still didn't know that it was a hit song till much later when it actually was.
And here is what Max Martin himself, remember 22 #1 hits, had to say about one of his old Drawward songs.
But when you wrote this song, which is a when you wrote this song, which is a fantastic pop song, was it obvious that it was like a hit record? Did you recognize?
You know, I actually had it in, like, I forgot about this one. The guy who started Jive Records, Clive Calder, was in Sweden. I did my presentation with the songs that I thought was good, you know. And then he asked me, don't you have anything else? Like something hidden, you know, something that you don't want to play? And I was like, well, yeah, I have this one.
This song that he didn't want to play is called Nothing Less Than I Want It That Way, one of Backstreet Boys' most iconic songs.
And I played it and went, you know, and he was like, yes, that's the one. And I'm like, all right. But that's interesting. Sometimes you don't know. You think it's crap, but it could be good.
Incredible. I know a lot of people who write songs and never release them, rarely play to anyone, or rarely even start. But if you like something, you should never stop doing it.
Think of something you think is cool and then make it cool to other people.
Because how do you get to a hit song? Mark Ronson, co-writer and producer of Bruno Mars' Uptown Funk, had this to say.
I guess it's just you do the thing that you do the most and that you love, and you just hope that sometimes every now and then you kind of catch the kind of collective consciousness of what, and you just have the moment.
Let's wrap this up nicely with Noel, as he does my job for me.
I read you said something really interesting once about how songwriting is like fishing. And you feel like yourself and other great songwriters are fishing from the same pond, so to speak. What did you mean by that?
Well, Keith Richards says that songs they're already there, fully formed. He thinks they're in the air. You know, Neil Young calls it waiting by the rabbit hole. He likens songs to like rabbits sticking its head out a hole, and you've just got to be ready to catch it. We all think that songs are there fully formed, and I'm just in the river fishing. Sometimes you get one, and sometimes you don't. But if you're not fishing, you know, Bono's going to get it, or Chris Martin.
So when you feel your hit song hasn't come yet, you might have it in your drawer already, or you might write it today. And remember, artists are just like us, except they fish a little more.